So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Chase. My name is Aliakskin, and today we'll talk about performance analytics. I'm not a well-known speaker, that's why I will introduce myself. I'm lead software engineer at a company called EPAM Systems. I know it's not a very known company here in the US, but we are doing a lot of software and consultancy services for companies like Google and another big corporations like Chevron and another. Previously, before EPAM, I was working at Motorola, Hewlett-Packard Laboratories, RingCentral, Parallels, it's virtualization stuff and remote desktop access from your mobile devices, and I was doing also various startups. I'm working in mobile development more than 10 years. During that 10 years, I was doing multiple things. Working on cross-platform, acting as a dev lead, tech lead, manager, just developer, and etc. I do have a really small GitHub account and Nana Twitter. If you will follow me on that social networks, I will be really happy for that. So why we should care about performance? And why should we sit here and listen to me? I think application performance makes a really big impact on end user, and especially it is one of the main reasons for the user's retention. It is also a very important thing for the time spent inside of the application. It is also the KPI for your business. For example, I do like make shopping through the mobile app, and when I'm doing, it's not advertisement, Amazon didn't pay me. When I'm able to make a purchase really quickly in Amazon application, it's really awesome. It means that I can buy more, and I usually do it. So Amazon makes more money because they have really fast cart. Another thing is user engagement. It is not only about the time when users spending their time in your application, but it's also how they will talk to another friends, make a recommendation for the application. Classic strategy to improve the performance inside of the mobile application. It is just to measure time between app icon click and when first screen will appear. And a lot of managers like to say, hey, we have a really fast application. It loads less than 1 second. US standard is about 2 seconds to launch the application. But if some of the folks have result like 1 second, they are extremely happy. And they think it is profit, but usually it is not, because of at the splash screen or at the first screen, usually a lot of data is loading. And actually, it's not the win. You just won the competition when your dependency injection was built, but it's not a real user experience to start that up. Back at my university, my main topic and my main subject was hardware, designing of special processors. And we had a topic called system theory, and according to that system theory, there was interesting theory that it's necessary to always handle the feedback you're getting from your real system. And usually people are just adding some libraries, but they are not doing any feedback processing. They are just adding something, looking into the graphs, and saying, yeah, we're doing good, or we are not doing good, and they are trying to optimize something in really rare cases. So, oh my God, Adobe, not the best moment to do that update. I'm sorry for that. It appears every time in random moments. So the main thing is, if you are doing something like in New York subway, if you are doing something, react on it by some way. So if you have your system which is working, get the output there and have that feedback, analyze it, and make an input into your system to improve it, to really improve it. So a little bit about not happy users. So you have not happy users if you have a small retention, if users just open your application, don't return back to your application, your rating is small. I found that in different countries, in different cultures, the rating is the way how rating is built is different. But anyway, if you have a small rating, it means that you have a small rating. So if you have short user sessions, in that case, it's not really good. There are different applications which are supposed to have a really small user session time. Maybe 6 years ago in Russia, we had a lot of SMS spam, and we created an application called SMS Cop. It is not available right now at Google Play Store, but the main idea was to prevent SMS spam. And we had really small time spent by users in our application, and it was meaning that they were getting all SMS messages correctly, and they were not making anything with that spam folder. So we were, but it is just a special and exception case for such kind of applications. And everything became worse and worse with your rating and your retention time and short user time session. With every release, it means that your users are going to the vacations, or they are not happy with your application, and probably they will remove it really soon. So let's just define rules to analyze the app behavior. Just integrate analytics and collect data. It is obviously, but sometimes developers are not doing it at all. Another thing is just to understand what is going on and what might be the reason. It is the most hard thing. It's just necessary to think or reserve time on that thing in your sprints, and managers don't like that stuff, but it's necessary to do it. And of course, find root cause of the issues. So do not close your eyes and say, hey, this is something bad with our algorithms, and we will fix it later. We are not Googlers who are making a lot of stuff to join the Google. We are not guys who are optimizing algorithms too much. But sometimes even Google has issues. Yeah, that's true. And I suppose even Amazon and other folks as well. So everyone is just regular people. So monitor work of your application in real-time conditions, because of developers, they sometimes live in unicorn world with latest Google Pixel or latest, I don't know. If you prefer Samsung, maybe with latest Galaxy phones, but I stopped to use them maybe 9 years ago. And repeat that loop. So always make analysis on everything what you're doing according to, just remember that picture of a system theory. So also it's necessary to understand users' pain. Maybe it is bad UI and UX. Maybe it is unstable work. So you have a really big problems, even probably with your paycheck, if your application continues simultaneously crash. So it's just it's just item to think. If your application have unpredictable behavior, it's also item to think that something is not good. If you don't see it in the comments at Google Play, it doesn't mean users don't see it. So I'm from Russia. In Russia, people are extremely direct, maybe like people in Israel. And if something is bad, in your Russian application comments at Google Play, you will see a lot of F words probably, explaining you how it's necessary to implement some stuff sometimes, because of there are popular banks in our country, and all devs are using that popular banks. And if any of that bank's application have any issues, in that case, even I was writing recommendations. Hey guys, I see you are using a lot of RAM. My friends did the same. So in US culture, no, you're extremely not direct. So if you don't see the bad comments in Google Play Store, it doesn't mean you don't have problems. Probably try to run tests in Russia. In that case, you will find the issues. I bet you have some Russian engineers who will make a translation for your application into the Russian language, so user will not face just English labels there. So I'm sorry, I stepped away from that topic. And if you have slow performance, it means, yeah, you have issues, and you should work on performance analytics, the topic we're talking about today. So experiments, as I said, it's possible. Always developers run their tests in lab, and it is unicorn, perfect world with fast Wi-Fi, stable client server. The device is clean. What does it mean? It means that there is one Belarus game called World of Tanks, and that game consumes a lot of memory, CPU, GPU, and other stuff. And if you will run your application on just clean device without any applications around it, in that case, your application, if it even shitty, will run okay because there is no competition for the resources with other applications. So try to, I don't know, install World of Tanks or another game and try to see how it will work. And perform real-life tests. Use 3G. Sometimes in US, I found the spots where you can find 3G places. Back in my country, we don't have 3G anymore. We have LTE everywhere, and it is 3 times faster than your LTE. So for us, it is a challenge to find 3G. In real-life tests, you can emulate and get the permanent retry loops for your network operations, and it will show the best of your application, how it works with bad responses. Also, in real-life tests, probably you will have errors with the server responses, and it will show the truth, the real truth of your application. So don't rely on only positive things. And please get to know, this should be your favorite target device. This is Samsung Galaxy something. I don't remember that number. It has screen resolution 320 per 240. Extremely slow CPU, two SIM cards. If you're creating a banking application, in that case, it might be tricky for you to understand what is the source of that SMS message. And you will find a lot. A lot of even Chinese phones have 2 SIM cards and their own special behavior, but I'm not sure that Chinese phones right now available in the US. So that Samsung with really bad performance and really cheap processor might be the exit for you to understand what is the real life of the users. And let's just talk about a little bit critical params to analyze. It might be the connection speed, connection quality. So you can have really high speed, but slow latency. You can also have region issues. For example, when I go to the Russia, none of my banking applications is working there at all. Bank of America, Chase, no. I know you didn't heard about the Chase here at Capital One and Washington. The closest ATM machine is in Philadelphia, as far as I remember. But anyway, at least some of the bank applications, they don't work there. And also, free RAM is important thing as well, because if you consume a lot of memory in a really hard way, it means that garbage collector will work a lot. And if it works a lot, it means that CPU takes time from another really good stuff. CPU usage with latest processors might be not the very important thing, but if you're doing something for the connected TVs, like Fire TV or even Android TV, in that case, it might be the reason, because of those devices, they're cheap and they have a really low-end hardware. So maybe proper architecture will help. Yesterday there was a really great talk about the architecture approaches. I will not make any spoilers, just check that presentation out. I really like it. You will find a lot of interesting stuff. I know that slides are already available, but when the videos will be available, check that video as well. So there are really interesting answers there. So in real life, I'm sorry, fun part of the presentation starts. So in real life, there is only one winner. Back at my university, I tried to play volleyball after basketball, and a trainer told me that in volleyball there is no equal situation. So there is only one winner every time. So in football or soccer, how you call it here, there might be additional time, but in volleyball there is only one answer. So you're a winner or you're not. So we should measure the performance and analyze it. And with the things you will measure, you will understand, are you the winner or you're a loser? So the thing which really matters and you should track and analyze is your controller performance. So it doesn't matter, is it a MVVM, MVVI, MVWTF, check that presentation. The main thing is that it's necessary to measure time between the action and the response. What will be in the middle of that, you can make a lot of holy wars at your kitchen, open space, whatever. But the result is only one. You're a good performer or you're a loser. So another thing which is also important, but people forget about it, is cancelled operations rate. What does it mean? I open the application screen, I see the spinner, all right, nice animation, but I'm not able to proceed with that. I won't go and eat, I don't know, steak. I close the application. So for us as a developers, it's really important to understand the cancelled operations rate, and it will indicate how bad performance is. Also, because of if users are closing application, it means that they didn't got anything. And the metrics which you will collect, that response time, probably will not make any sense because of user closed that application. Network performance is also an interesting thing. It's a big topic. I will stop on it. And user retention. User retention probably will be handled by your product managers, and they will probably analyze somehow, throw more features development into your to-do column, Jira board, but probably it's just necessary to fix the performance issues and do not make additional unicorns animations inside of your app. So using some kind of a scientific approach, let me try this thing. Is it possible to point somehow here? Okay. Yeah. So regular, when you will collect the data, you will see a graph like that. There was a moment when I tried to become a PhD guy, and then I understood that I'm not a science person, so I knew how to make all that high math stuff, but I wasn't understanding, all right, I can do it, but what should I really do? So it's necessary to just make analysis. Figure it out, the criteria, and make analysis. Everything is really easy. So this is, the red line is kind of a regular behavior and what we should expect, and we should work and handle only the spikes. So if you have, for example, loading of your screen with 350 milliseconds, and it is an average value, and next day you have 395 or 420, it means that you have a 70 milliseconds spike and you should make an analysis. So the main thing to analyze is just the spikes, which is going outside of the normal. It doesn't mean you should do it only in case if you are working with a production application. You can also run that stuff during your regular QA lifecycle. So you're making a PR, and maybe in Friday is a bad day to do that stuff. The weekend will be ruined because of quality assurance engineer will go to you on Friday evening and say, hey, you have a bad performance. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. So it's better to do it on Thursday or Wednesday, just in the middle of the week, just to let developers fix stuff by the end of the week, or start Monday and have a happy Monday, improving the performance. So the FIREBASE network, Google is actually right now everywhere, and Google outside of the box, the previous session was about how they are doing that network monitoring thing. They are just adding additional bytecode to track all that stuff. There is only one special thing about that technique. It's really great, it's amazing. But when you have a lot of dependencies or not properly implemented Dagger inside of your application, inside of your project, it means that probably that additional DEX operations will hit your laptop and you will feel more warm in your hands. So it may annoy sometimes, but it's really great that Google guys added that stuff. Probably you can turn it off for the debug builds, just to make the recompilation cycle faster. So with FIREBASE network monitoring tools, you're able just to monitor the success rate of your responses and see the real data in real time. And it costs you $0. So it is available out of the box. Just check out your master, develop, whatever, where are you doing the commits, and add the FIREBASE network monitoring thing. Make an analysis for strange network operations. It's really important. It's necessary to analyze the size of the response and how you are doing with that response. If it's big, just check what is going on inside of your application. Do you have garbage collector working really hard or not? You can do it in your lab test. Check the time to perform the operation. Check the operation daytime. Sometimes applications are working good during the day, but bad in the evening or in the morning. If you have guys located offshore outside of the United States, somewhere in Europe or in Asia, in that case, that guys can develop their solutions during your night. In that case, everything will be good. But when a real day will come, in that case, you will see the problems. And it will not be a question to your devs. It will be a question to your backend, actually. But usually, people are asking devs firstly, the client devs. They are responsible for everything. And check user profile specific. So I'm kind of a special case. I lived in Europe previously, then I moved here. And after I moved here, I had a lot of issues that my account for the Netflix and another services was located in European tier. And when I started to live here, my authorization became really slower, and I was writing to everyone, hey guys, something strange happens to my user account. So make additional check that probably your user moved from one location to another one, and make some adjustments. Simulate bad behavior, and what can help you in that thing. It might be a VPN, easy to do, and just reroute your traffic through another country, and just see that probably some of your content is not available in another country. It might be as well. Try to use Charles tool I really like that tool. It gives you ability to not only sniff traffic, but also it gives you ability to play with the network speed, quality, and etc. Probably with Charles, you will find that probably it's just necessary to improve your protocol and change the data structures. And try to use specially configured dev on staging environment. It's obviously, but sometimes people forget about it. And saying honestly, I was at a lot of projects working for the mobile clients, and we were debugging against the production. It's a regular case, but come on, sometimes it's better to use a specially configured environment. Check user behavior with placeholders. Sometimes the user experience when, I firstly will talk about the image quality. So play with image quality. There are multiple cloud services who provide you to change the image resolution with just the URL param. So if you are able, if you have, imagine you have image view which is 300 by 300. What will happen if you, in that image view, will render a picture 150 per 150? Maybe users will be okay with that image, but you will have twice less bytes going through the network. And it might be the reason for you as well. Play with the placeholder or loading animation. I was at the project and we had just a black placeholder for the image. And when I changed it to the picture placeholder, and even when I added a spinner which was spinning, the speed was the same, but the feel was absolutely different. When we had a black placeholder, it was like, I don't know, years you were waiting for that image. But when we did that change, everything from user side became more nice, and we used that approach. And also, sometimes when your application is loading, it's possible to use placeholders. Do not display everything in the first moment, just display something. Collect the user behavior. So do you remember that metrics? That user is staying somewhere, he's waiting for that, he doesn't cancel that operation. If you will collect and analyze that metric, you will understand that, yes, I'm doing well. Don't just integrate tool and wait, something will happen. No, you should do something, analyze it. Let's talk a little bit about tools. So the tools is the FIREBASE, New Relic, App Dynamics, Conviva, Adobe, if you're doing something what is related to the video. So you can play with the video quality, track how fast your video is going. Are users leaving your application or not, according to the video playback statistics. Tools are useful because of they are already implemented. There is no any need to invent your own bicycle. Doesn't work. Hey, it has a lot of out-of-the-box tools implemented inside of it. You can also track another user information with that tools because of that tools already collecting that stuff. And it has graphs out of the box, so you can see the pictures and say something to your project or tell it that, hey, graph changed, life became better. Typical mistakes is blindly believe analytics tools. Yeah, firstly I said that it's necessary to believe it. That's true, but there is a small nuance. Sometimes it's necessary to make an adjustment and understand what is going on. So you can have normal distribution for every user, but you can have spikes for group of users with extremely slow devices, or spikes for users with new features at the devices. But in general, you will have the average situation. So don't blindly believe them. Measure data load from the cache. Oh, it is a typical mistake because of what do you want to test? Anyway, it will not work faster. You're not able to do anything with it. You're just able to modify your model, but I believe you're great engineers and you are not storing plain JSON in just a one string. True? Yeah. I didn't hear that. So measure just screen display time. It is just the way how your Android device is working. It doesn't matter. It's not your code logic. And do not react on error spikes. You know that picture when dog is sitting in a flaming house and saying everything is fine. No, it's not fine. If you have spikes, just react on them. All right, what is the plan? The plan is add usage of that tools, start measure critical operations, measure according to the recommendations. So do not ignore the cancelled operations, and measure user reaction. So the time user spent staying at some of the states, it makes sense. Add performance testing into your QA cycle. So do not do it in the latest moment. You know how it happens usually. You just go to the stand-up and your quality assurance guy is saying to you, hey, the best situation if he is located in offshore and you're just trying to get to the office. In New York City, sometimes it's really hard. Trains are failing, and you just get message on mobile, hey, we have a spike with the performance or crashes. And you're, yeah, I'm going to the office to fix it. And train stops somewhere. So to do not be, let's make hotfix. Sure. The trains are rerouting. Okay. I'll try to find a LTN. LT is not working. Yeah, so never mind. So just include that into your regular QA cycle. And in that case, your road to the office will be easier. You will be able just to say, hey, last week I was saying we had a spike. Probably that spike became bigger. This is your problem, why you did not prioritize that task in my backlog. Use Android primitives to improve performance. If anyone will be interested, I can share after that talk or one of my presentations. I made a talk maybe 1 year ago, and I was telling that we were creating a device like Fire TV, but before Fire TV in Russia, yeah, we're doing some technology sometimes. Unfortunately, that startup was failed due to lack of investments. But anyway, it was really a fun experience. So I feel that some of the developers, they forgot the nature and the architecture of Android. That Android was designed to use inter-process communication. When I'm starting to talk that probably it's necessary to use a service, people are saying, what for? I have RxJava or I have coroutines. Hey, guy, this is a little bit another story. So you can have a VoIP application and you can have your voice service running outside of your UI process and let all your unicorn and pony animations run extremely good inside of your UI sandbox and let all voice and echo cancellation work in another process. Just do not use a garbage collector in a really hard way. And he say, no, I will use RxJava, coroutines, and another stuff. So just don't forget that initially when Android started his life, he was designed to use inter-process communication because of the bad and slow hardware in those times. And sometimes content providers, they're really nice to use. And collect, store, and analyze data you are collecting from your mobile application. It's better to collect as much as it's possible. Geolocation, as I told you, with the content which is not available and what may decrease the user engagement. CPU usage, free memory, any parameter which makes any impact. So in the beginning, I was telling the example with the Amazon and cart, how fun is that to buy stuff at mobile application, and I'm really happy and ready to make next purchase because of when I click, screen disappears and I already spent my money. What if, yeah, I can buy more? It works for me. I understand this is a trick, but it works. So network quality params, bandwidth makes sense. So probably maybe if you're sending something, maybe it's necessary to zip it, or if you're sending a picture on the, I don't know, Instagram. Of course, you're not developing Instagram, but if you're sending some picture, maybe it's better to make that picture smaller according to the bandwidth. And again, system theory is necessary to analyze the feedback. Right now, the next slide. The performance analytics is not profiling. So that talk was not about the profiling. It was just about the analytics and how to do with that. I'm a nerd. I'm the guy who was studying to make a hardware. And when you're developing some hardware, it means that if you made a mistake, in that case, you're not roll out new version of your processor, of your CPU. It's necessary to, if you understand that some of the blocks in your CPU works bad, it's better to make a probably adjustment block which will fix some of the issues or will deal with that situations. So it's possible to implement actually the adjustment mechanism or manager, which will adjust application behavior according to the current device metrics. What can it be? It might be smaller images. So if you make a measure at the mobile device, you'll send the data into the analytics tool. Then you can publish a special config which will say that with that threshold, it's better to decrease the image quality or something like that. So kind of artificial intelligence running right on your mobile app. It's possible to turn off the animations if you see and your application understands that application works bad. In that case, just turn off the animations. And it's possible to limit the functionality, the features. So probably it's not the best thing to, I don't know, to make every feature work in the same way at every device. Because of at high and great device, that feature will use a lot of CPU, but at low-end device, it will not work at all. So probably just make a demo and just turn that feature off. And analyze user reactions. So adjustment manager, smaller, biggest images, turn off animations, limit functionality. And right now, I will make a self-PR. I'm sorry for that, but a few months ago, I created a library called Pulkova. Pulkova is a place in St. Petersburg. I'm from St. Petersburg, which is located not so far away from Kotlin Island. It is an observatory just to make measurements. Before revolution, they were looking into the space. And technically, Pulkova is the, in Pulkova, there is a Pulkova meridian, and all time in Russia, technically, is measured from that Pulkova meridian. So that Pulkova library is a Kotlin-friendly library to measure elapsed time for the things and stuff like code blocks, method, classes, RX Java chains. It is available at that URL, and let me just show you how it works. So it wasn't compiled, but let me just show you. I didn't open that project so many time ago. So in the Kotlin, there is a higher end function which gives you to measure the time was taken to execute the block. It's not a rocket science, that's what I did. It just measures the methods names. It's also able to measure the RX Java chains. So this is just, you're just adding the marker name here, and so just put it into the stats collector. It's possible to measure methods names. It's possible to measure with the labels, or if we are putting the this reference, in that case, it will take the method name on create automatically. It is extensible, so you can add additional plugins. When you're starting and you just want to rewrite and block something somewhere, you just add some kind of a reducer. And here you can do whatever you want. Measure record is the interface. There is some data there. It is possible to use that thing in a production and in the debug mode. In release configuration, it will not do anything. It will just wrap the method. So no need to remove it. Just select another configuration, and in that case, with release library, nothing will be collected if you don't measure something. So it is useful for the debug stuff, maybe. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for coming and listening. If you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them. Yeah.
In the slide where you talked about the tools, you mentioned 4, only one of which I've heard of.
So you mentioned 4 tools. I've heard of FIREBASE. You were talking about the network, the HTTP stuff that I think Doug was talking about earlier. And I've heard of Adobe, but I don't know what tool you're talking about. So
Adobe.
they actually measure the tools you're talking about?
Adobe, I don't remember exact name of the sub-library, but Adobe gives you ability, as far as I remember, they are given ability to check the video heartbeat. Just on the same, if you have a video playback inside of your application, if you're not YouTube but something another, in that case it's better for you to track how video playback goes at client side, and it's possible to track that thing. And if you have videos inside of your application, measure the bandwidth of the channel and how often the quality becomes lower or better in the real life.
Okay. And the other 2, I also hadn't heard of.
You never heard about New Relic?
Nope. Not an app developer. Maybe they're obvious to everybody else in the room.
I can just drop you the links. I will mention on Twitter and.
Fine. I'll look them up. I just wondered. So the thing that struck me though is a lot of the techniques that you mentioned were about measuring performance time of your app, doing things like startup and time to first screen. But the tools that you mentioned, I didn't think were timing those things. So I was wondering what you were using for actually measuring more sort of fundamental things like application launch time.
Firebase gives you ability to out of the box. Yeah.
Startup?
Yeah, startup. I can show you even how it looks in the console. So sometimes it's possible to implement your own bicycles. I mean, with library like Pulkova or another stuff. Jake Wharton had library which is not maintainable right now with the annotations just to check something. The time elapsed for some block or method. So it's, I promote the idea that you should understand the things which are critical and you are able to make impact on that stuff rather than try to, I don't know, to implement new quick sorting or something like that. So just measure the stuff you're facing and play with the data structures, image qualities, and react on them. So turn on, off, and in that case, your performance might be slow, but for you, user will just see less functionality or less quality stuff. Thank you.